My name is Brandon Box-Higdon, and I am the director of Big River here at Argenta Community Theater. We began this creative process last fall in 2017 by doing a lot of the research, reading the scripts, and starting to kind of get a vision and a focus as to how the show would evolve here at ACT. I had directed it about 20 years ago up in the Omaha area. But the beauty of being back home at Argenta Community Theater is the intimacy of the actual space itself. And so the story itself is going to translate much stronger here than it did on the larger stage that I directed previously. The beauty of also being able to work here at ACT is to be able to come home and work with dear friends on a project and to each have their own kind of creative process. I embrace that collaboration. I embrace the creativity that is brought to the table and then just try to kind of mold and nurture that. We met back in March as a production team to start talking a little bit about concept. Because it is a classic tale of Huckleberry Finn written by Mark Twain, set to the stage with Roger Miller's amazing music, I wanted to focus a lot on making sure that when the audience walks into the theater, they feel like they are on a Mississippi bayou, the docks and the hanging moss and the starlit sky and the hearing of, the sound of the cicadas and all of that, because they do take a journey with Jim and Huck down that river. The beauty of the piece itself in regards to talking about the concept with the designers and talking about where my concept was being spun from is an aspect where Jim and Huck are on very different paths in this time period. Jim is in pursuit of getting away and trying to find his freedom to be able to go back up north to the Free States to find his wife and his child who were separated from him. Huck is just trying to get away from the constraints of adults. He is a child at heart, but the farther that he goes on this journey, he suddenly realizes that by the time he gets to the end of the journey, the parameters of his life have changed so much that he knows he can't go back. He can't go back to being that child again. And so in regards to visiting with Michael Clutcher, our amazing set designer, I did say I really, really would love to have this idea of a Mississippi Bayou, docks and things, but maybe putting that spin of like when you see certain numbers in the show, that you see this evolution of an abandoned child's playground. The fact that we cannot go back as adults, there's a moment that hits our lives where we realize we're not going to be able to go back to being a child again. We're going to have to be an adult and move forward from that. And Huck learns that by the end of the show. And so we saw the design start to evolve into this dock system, but it also had this almost abandoned fort feel to it. It's not blatant by any means, but it's also really kind of a cool concept when you know a little bit more of that backstory in regards to that. The music itself it's intoxicating, and it is very uplifting on many levels. The beauty of this piece is that it is a classic tale. It is it is the story of Huckleberry Finn in told by the Mark Twain style. It follows it very, very closely. But this music is very Southern gospel based. You can hear the tones of "I'll Fly Away" in there, and the numbers are waiting for the light to shine and free at last. And every one of those numbers has this just deep roots in Southern gospel music that people are just going to love, and it pulls you in and gives you chills and brings tears to your eyes and makes you laugh and it brings back those reflections of your childhood, which is really, really exciting. There is one particular song that I struggled with, and it's a song called "Worlds Apart," where Jim and Huck are floating on the raft, and Jim has been chained up on the raft. He's got this horrible sign around his neck. He's got dirt all over his face, and Huck just starts to kind of laugh. And it's that one moment where Jim just can't take it anymore, and kind of gives Huck his mind. And Huck realizes that Jim is his friend, and he needs to be there to support Jim. And they sing this song called "Worlds Apart." And one of the lyrics is that I see the same sky through my eyes that you see through yours, but we're worlds apart. And it speaks volumes to me that this musical came out and won Best Musical in, I believe, 1987. And it was such a powerful, powerful song in that show. And yet I feel like in today's society, we are still there. You know, we've got so much racial divide, and we have so much upheaval in our country that it's almost kind of a sad moment where we realize that we're all seeing the same sky. It's just we're in different parts of our lives, you know? And so that song is a really powerful moment. I have an amazing cast that it's just an absolute joy to be able to come and to watch them work together. It's a very short rehearsal process, but yet the quality of what we get on our stage here at Argenta Community Theater is amazing, second to none. And sometimes I sit back and think, wow, this is community theater. This is crazy. This is crazy awesome, you know? But this cast they just jump in and they just help each other. And from the moment we talked about what this show means, not only to me, but also to the production staff, they just jumped right in. We've all become this we believe in this project. I even spoke about the aspect of the fact that we are not going to shy away from the content. It's not, it is a very child-friendly show. It is a very fun show, but it also does cover some kind of awful moments in American history. And there is a little bit of language. It's not curse words by any means, but it's some words that are difficult to hear. And we've had some cast members who have really had a hard time saying this one particular word, which is, you know, and I just said to her, I said, you have to, because this is exactly what the slaves of this time period would have been treated. They would have heard it, and it's awful, and we don't like it now. But I don't think that we should be shying away from this either, because this is a part of American history that, you know, we do need to hold a mirror up to American society and say, look, this is where we came from. This is a part of our American fabric. But what are we going to do about that? You know, I think the power of today's theater is that not only should it entertain and be an amazing, you know, fun experience, but we also need to walk away and learn something from it as well. What are we going to do with what we have seen? My hope is that Big River will be that element that will open up conversation in our community, that it will open up conversation between the races, between gender, between sexes, and try to figure out what that next step is going to be. How do we move forward from here and not repeat history? I don't know if that's going to happen, but my hope is that the beauty of this piece will inspire the conversation. But it is an amazing, amazing production, and we have been working super hard on it. We're about to head into Tech Week, and we're about to start to add in all of the technical elements, which is going to be super exciting. And I would hope that everyone would hurry up and get on our Argenta Community Theater website, purchase those tickets, get those reservations in, because I do think that word of mouth is going to this is going to fly. And so we want to make sure that those tickets get sold as quickly as possible, because it's going to be a very worthwhile experience. So come on down to Argenta Community Theater and see Big River. Thanks.